ABC News, 23 November 2023, Maldives requested that Indian forces withdraw following the inauguration of Mohamed Muizzu, a pro-China president. China is using the Maldives as one of its players in its all-out battle on the Indian subcontinent. Nestled on the equator in the Indian Ocean, southwest of Sri Lanka, the Maldives is known for its pristine beaches, sun-kissed atolls, and upscale resorts. The Maldives boasts more than 1,000 islands. However, it has also become the focal point of a geopolitical conflict between China and India, the two regional superpowers. Furthermore, following the induction of Mohamed Muizzu as the new president of the Maldives last week, there are worries that China would use the new administration's renewed anti-India stance to consolidate its already significant influence further. What does the newly elected president stand for, and who is he? After vowing to evacuate 75 Indian military personnel stationed in the country, Mr. Muizzu defeated incumbent Ibrahim Soli in a runoff election for the presidency in September. Land border conflicts have made relations between China and India more acrimonious recently. After taking over as the head of the Maldivian Democratic Party in 2018, Mr. Soli led the country for 5 years while pursuing an agenda prioritizing India. Meanwhile, Mr. Muizzu had promised to foster strong ties with China, which has given the 520,000-person country a substantial financial boost. Since the nation's separation from the UK in 1965, he has served as president 8 times. What is India's level of presence in the Maldives? The 75 Indian military soldiers support the Maldives' exclusive economic zone patrol with Indian warships and radar stations funded by New Delhi. In southern India, Kerala is less than 800 kilometers from the Maldives. Senior research fellow David Brewster of ANU remarked that the increasing belief that Indian citizens were like spies occupying the Maldives was political rhetoric and completely inaccurate. According to Dr. Brewster, who spent 3 months in India in 2021 as part of a project partially supported by the Australian government, the truth is that India's 3 aircraft, 2 of which are helicopters, are helping people on extremely remote islands and transporting them to hospitals for medical care. They provide medevac or flying medical services for around 70% of their work, search and rescue for 20%, and surveillance assistance for illegal fishing for the other 10%. They are indispensable and would be missed. What is the new administration's position on India? Mr. Muizzu promised to try to eradicate the Indian presence as soon as possible in the run-up to the election. During his inauguration speech last Friday, he promised to respect the security red line of any other country while declaring that the Maldives will have a thick red line regarding security-related matters. "I can guarantee you that being devoted to my cherished Maldives is my highest honor." However, Suhasini Haider, the diplomatic editor of The Hindu, a newspaper published in India, claimed that before Mr. Soli took over in 2018, Abdullah Yameen had made remarks along these lines. A pro-China leader, Mr. Yameen, was convicted guilty of corruption and money laundering last December and given an 11-year prison sentence and a $5 million $7.6 million fine. He refutes the accusations. Since Indian employees in the Maldives are not positioned in a combative capacity, this is an old issue that is rife with misinformation. They provide upkeep and assistance, according to Ms. Haider. Establishing Maldivian sovereignty was one of the campaign's main pledges. Still, since a diplomatic solution is being worked out, it's too soon to tell if the India out strategy will take place this time. The last time, they did discover a solution. However, Mr. Muizzu announced last week that he had started talks with the Indian government about ending its military presence, describing them as extremely fruitful already. What role does China play? Like India, China has made significant financial investments and loan advances in the Maldives, focusing on the island's strategic location in the Indian Ocean, which covers an area of 90,000 square kilometers. The nation's public debt is still significant because of ongoing borrowing to fund infrastructure projects and the budget deficit. According to World Bank data, the total public and publicly guaranteed debt increased to $7 billion, $10.6 billion, at the end of 2022, or an astounding 113.5% of GDP. In addition to acknowledging that growing debt was a danger, Mr. Muizzu pledged to take swift and bold action to lower it. However, according to Radhi Tambi, a research associate at the Center for Air Power Studies in New Delhi, Beijing saw a chance in the Maldives' economic hardships. With initiatives like the opaque, heavily indebted Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, designed to foster dependency, she claimed that China is attempting to chew up strategic space in India's backyard. India and China have been at odds for the last 3 presidential elections, but it's essential to realize that New Delhi has relationships beyond the voting booth. These include being among the first nations to acknowledge the Maldives' independence in 1965, vaccinating during the COVID-19 pandemic, and assisting in recovering its friendly neighbours' tourism-based economy. What role does Australia play? Under the Morrison administration, Australia opened its first-ever embassy in Mali last year. According to the then Foreign Minister Maurice Payne, the embassy will build on the shared aspirations of Australia and Maldives for a stable, secure, and resilient Indo-Pacific. It would strengthen development cooperation and increase opportunities for trade, investment and connectivity in the Northeast Indian Ocean. According to Dr. Brewster, Australia now has a chance to make a stronger diplomatic footprint. Australia must play a significant role. He remarked, "We see ourselves benignly as a valuable friend and partner there, with no baggage. By enhancing competencies across multiple domains, Australia may achieve numerous objectives. I'm arguing that we ought to play a bigger part there." What takes place at this point? During Mr. Muizzu's swearing-in event, it was evident that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was not present. Modi had attended the inauguration of the previous president in 2018. Following Mr. Muizzu's congratulations from the Chinese ambassador in Mali, President Xi Jinping quickly offered his congratulations, stating that he placed great importance on the development of bilateral relations. He was ready to work with President-elect Muizzu to carry forward the traditional friendship, deepen practical cooperation. Mr. Muizzu promised to transfer Mr. Yamin, the disgraced former president, from a maximum security prison to a more cozy house detention. The quality of life for ordinary Maldivians could suffer. Therefore, New Delhi hopes diplomacy can persuade Mr. Muizzu to reconsider his decision to drive out the Indians, according to Ms. Tambi. The political elite is primarily the only group involved in this pro- and anti-China or India debate because, according to Ms. Tambi, people are more concerned with things like street lights, fish processing facilities, school digitalization initiatives, and speech treatment programs, all of which are led by India. However, the local participation level in this election opened my eyes. India must exercise caution to prevent these misinformation tactics from spreading further than necessary.